anniversary edition. If this is the first time you've ever joined a community webinar, this particular event showcases user talent. And we're so excited this time around to see how features get applied out in the field by people who really love ClickUp. And in terms of that anniversary edition, today marks 1 year since we started hosting community-driven webinars. So we're so proud to continue to bring this customer point of view to the view front for everyone here to really understand how many talented ClickUp builders are in our community, and we're going to keep featuring them each and every month. These community webinars have set records for attendance, so thank you so much for being here. As you may know, we have an amazing live chat, and of course, all of these successes are because of you all, the best community there is. So today, what are we going to be looking at? We're going to be showcasing 3 community experts, partners of ours, who will share 3 of their favorite features and demonstrate how they use each one to boost productivity through unique use cases and solutions that they have built for clients. And before we really get started with that, I always like to share that my biggest goal at ClickUp is bringing together passionate individuals like all of you who share a common goal to enhance productivity in both our personal and professional lives. So let's just start it off with a big shout out to all of you, our attendees, and I thank you for joining us virtually from across the globe. If you look over to the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see the purple chat box. And if you have not already, please jump in there, comment in the chat where you're from and how long you've been using ClickUp. And while you're in the chat, I want to draw your attention to the Q&A button. It's above the chat in white lettering, and I want to make sure that you use it. Our presenters and our knowledgeable ClickUp team are here with me. They're backstage, fingers ready to answer all your questions live as you enjoy the content that they've prepared. So you'll love interacting with them while you watch. So we're ready to help you out live here on the call. So please make sure you use that if you have anything you want to ask. I also want to note before we get started that, as always, there may be some advanced content today. Our presenters are considered experts in this platform, and I think to have the right mindset to absorb what they've prepared to you, it's important to remember that community webinars are designed for tips and tricks and inspiration, but for those who want to explore each presenter's content at their own pace and really use it as more of an educational how-to, don't worry, you'll be able to watch the recording at your own pace when you receive it from us in the next day or so. And then today, we don't always do this, but actually have a little special. I'm going to throw something on the screen for you. Today, I have a special giveaway to celebrate Valentine's Day tomorrow. Everyone attending live will be entered to win an exclusive swag item. I've got all your names. Don't worry, if you're here watching live today, you are entered to win. These designs are brand new. They were custom made for an exciting space that we're launching soon for the verified community. So if you have a power user badge, if you're an ambassador or a VC, boy, have I got something awesome for you coming up in a few weeks. No one else has these yet. 2 of you watching today will get them. We will announce the winners in our Facebook community. So if you haven't joined us in Facebook yet, in our ClickUppers group, and you have Facebook, I encourage you to do that, where you can collaborate more with your peers. But don't worry, if you don't have Facebook, I'm going to contact the winners via email as well. So good luck, everyone. I hope you enjoy today's event, and I hope some of you are excited to win these products above here. So let's get started. Our first community presenter today is Logan Simonson. Logan lives in Victoria, BC, which is close to my hometown of Bellingham, Washington. Shout out Pacific Northwest if anyone is from there. And he is the operations manager at Pilot House Digital. His main focus is adding a sense of textural whimsy to projects and systems. That is his description, and it is delightful. And today he's going to showcase the ClickUp features that he loves the most in a workspace focused on creative queue processes. He's going to dive into some details in his demo, so get ready to see how his favorite features, custom fields, forms, and automations work together to handle literally thousands of tasks. Logan is also here in the chat to answer any questions. So say hi, Logan, in the chat. Enjoy his demo, and let's check out what the love of productivity can accomplish with his favorite features. Here is Logan.
Thanks for the introduction. Hey, everybody, and thank you for your time. I'm going to have you watch over my shoulder while I navigate through some of Pilot House's creative queue processes. Now, this is the creative asset queue where we service 100 to 150 clients at any given time, producing 600 to 800 individual creative request tasks each month. I think in Q4 last year, we had around 3,800 individual tasks with a total of 13,000 discrete deliverables. And this is all done in a ClickUp pipeline without anything too fancy. I'm going to show you how we creatively implemented custom fields, and I'm going to show you that across a couple different categories. I'm going to start with the standardization of metadata using custom fields in forms for task creation. Then for the lifespan of the tasks, I'm going to show you some automated ways of updating that metadata and also amending metadata. So this is sort of found efficiencies, reducing clicks for users, and then also creating new reportable metadata amended to tasks throughout their lifespan. That's all done with automation. Finally, I'm going to talk to you about some reporting that we're able to do on our creative asset queue due to these standardizations and automations that we talked about in the first two sections. Okay, right now we're looking at our creative asset queue. This is a list view, and you can sort of see, generally speaking, an illustration of the ticket's lifespan. So that's just a little bit of context for you. We're actually going to start by talking about submission forms. Now, submission forms, or rather just ClickUp forms, are how we standardize the metadata that enters our request queue. Every single task needs to have the same instructions, the same type of instructions, and the same information available to the creative team members, so that we can save time on back and forths, questions, clarifications, but also reduce error rate and save time on revisions. So we use submission forms to do this. We have a lot of metadata that is amended in the same way upon task creation to every task that comes into the queue. Now, a lot of this is boilerplate. If you've ever seen a submission form before, you're going to recognize things like task name, task description, but we do a couple creative things with our forms at Pilot House. And I think the first thing is the optimize for custom field. Now, this is just a drop-down custom field. There's nothing fancy about it, but it's the way it's used that I think is creative. So by making every submitter select whether their task needs to be optimized for speed or polish, we can service different types of clients using the same queue and not waste a bunch of time. So we can have sort of nuanced or customized lifespans for the tasks. They follow different paths through the queue, even though we're using the same form and the same queue itself. So what this kind of means is if your brand, if your client really cares about a highly polished asset with very specific instructions, they're highly likely to want revisions. They want this sort of degree of attention given to their tasks. You can indicate that. And if you do not, let's say your client just wants like a meme or some captions added to a video, then you can select speed as your optimization type, and it will actually, the task later in its life will skip certain revision steps in the queue, in the pipeline. So that's how we use some of the standardized metadata from forms in conjunction with found efficiencies in automations. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling down. I'm going to try to keep it relatively brief. But a really important piece of metadata we collect on every single submission is this checkbox here. Now, it might just look like a sort of terms and conditions checkbox. That's kind of how I designed it. But if you go to the editing panel, you can actually see what you're clicking is an identification field. It's a checkbox custom field called ID master graphic form. Now, we have 15 to 20 submission forms open at any given time. We have video, pages, copy, but we also have more nuanced ones for specific use cases, specific types of videos in this. By identifying the form upon submission, we can, again, customize the lifespan of tasks based on what type of content they are. Okay, I think that's a good segue to automations. So moving away from the standardization of metadata upon task submission, we're going to talk about the ways metadata sort of takes on a life of its own throughout the task's lifespan using automations. Now, there's a few specific examples I wanted to show you. And the first is this automation number 183. To save users time, we can omit certain submission-based metadata and amend it to tasks using automations and that little identification checkbox we talked about. So, for example, let's look at this one. If the identification field external creator request is selected, then all this metadata is amended to the task without the submitter needing to fill it out. So we can have customized reminder comments, we can tag people, we can add assignees, we can add the type of content drop-down field, which is used later for reporting. Now, this is a fairly simplistic example, but you could have a whole bunch of automated metadata all based on that one checkbox field. Seems really simple, but it took us a couple of years to think of that, and man, it has saved us a lot of time. So I'm pretty proud of that little checkbox and all the work it's done. But let's move on to some other automation examples. Continuing with that sort of found efficiency theme, let's look at one more. So if I go to automation number 163, let's see, searching it up might be quickest. Nope, apparently it didn't like that. Let's just scroll. We have so many. Okay, so automation 163 here is a sort of automated movement-based reminder where if something accidentally skips a review status, then it just gets pushed back to the review status. This just saves our queue managers time. So if it goes from active to done without touching QA review first, then the quality assurance reviewers get the task automatically pushed to their desk. And so this saves the queue managers and also the content managers time. It reduces error rate, therefore getting the work quicker to those who need to see it and do the work. And so back and forths and revisions are both reduced. And as you can see here, we have a little reminder comment that goes along with it, just so people aren't confused why their tasks move around magically. So reminder comments are another good example of found efficiency you can use with automations. Okay, now let's move into some reporting-based fields that are amended using automations. And these are kind of my favorite. If we look at automation number 53, you'll see this custom field called client approvals first round. This is a whole category of automated custom fields we use where depending on status movements and checking conditions according to other approvals, the task will have amended to it a approved or failed state attached to the task. So let me explain this a little bit better. If something goes from sent for client approval or ready for client approval to approved by client, then this custom field shows that yes, the task was approved on the first round by the client. But there's a paired automation that will see if the task goes to needs revisions from the client approval statuses. That will indicate actually this needed revision on the first pass. Now you can see the first pass approvals checker is making sure that it hasn't already checked first round of revisions. And there's actually a second round approvals counter. There's also internal revision counters, QA revisions, needed clarification revisions. These are all different statuses in our pipeline. And we have a whole network of dozens of automations that check the movements of tasks, amending metadata to them throughout their lifespan. I think this is really cool. If you want to nerd out with some custom fields and automations, this is a good place to start because it does some really cool things in allowing us to report on like KPIs in our queue. And that's what I'm going to show you next. So let's go over to a dashboard. This is a dashboard for a group of people in the queue. So a manager might use this to look at the KPIs of their team and how their team is using, effectively or not, the creative queue. I think this is really cool. These are examples of all the custom fields that I just showed you that are filled or changed using automations. And you can see person to person how often their tasks needed further clarification, how often their tasks passed internal revisions, how often their tasks passed client revision. So we can sort of paint a picture here on the error rate of individuals. That's all done with no extra work by the user. These things just appear as tasks move throughout their lifespan. So we have the standardization of metadata using forms entering the queue. We have an accurate and low friction system of metadata amendment through the lifespan of a task using automations. And then what that allows us to do at the end of life for a task is report on it in all these cool ways. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you learned something or got some tips. I've been Logan. I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, Logan. I know the chat is really impressed with this workflow, and the team at Pilot House Digital. I mean, it's amazing to see a workflow like this in action. Again, this is an expert level workshop, but I can definitely tell you that you can start anywhere. You can start with custom fields, you can start exploring automations. Building something like this is definitely a process, but I definitely hope that you were inspired to begin with one of the features that Logan called out. Again, Pilot House, incredible partner. If you'd like to get in touch, their form is in the chat, and we'll also email it out to all of you. Thanks again, Logan. Moving on, as we know, and as we've seen, there is more than one way to use ClickUp. There's a million ways to use ClickUp. You can apply each of our features across any use case. It's a lot to take in. So to move on today, we're going to showcase an alternative workflow that also focuses on automations, custom fields, and also includes some talking points on tasks in multiple lists. I'm excited to introduce you to Nathaniel Moeller. He is the co-founder and COO at the Penguin Group, and he is an operations and management consultant, expertise in business processes, systems, and employee management. He really enjoys helping businesses structure and optimize their processes. So today, he's going to show you how ClickUp functions for a company that does facilities management. Totally different use case, using some of the same features that Logan did. So Nathaniel's in the chat, along with our ClickUp teammates and our other presenters, to prepare general questions, answer things as you explore what he's prepared. So welcome, Nathaniel, and take a look at ClickUp from his point of view.
Thanks, Trish. Hi, everybody. My name is Nathaniel Muller. I'm the co-founder and COO of the Penguin Group, a company that helps businesses structure and organize their processes and implement systems across departments. We've been working with ClickUp now for about 5 years, and we are now ClickUp partners, and we implement ClickUp across companies in different industries, from single departments to full companies with automation, and we absolutely love ClickUp. And today we're going to focus on 3 features that we love about ClickUp, specifically automation, tasks and multiple lists, and custom fields. The tasks and multiple lists is a Click app that you can turn on in the settings. You can also, and I advise you to turn on the little checkbox that also turns on subtasks and multiple lists, which I'm going to show you today, is quite useful. Automation makes everything I'm going to show you today possible. And then custom fields while they could be used as data sets and ways to collect information in an organized way, for today's purposes, we're going to use custom fields as a tool to filter out and manipulate automations. So what we're going to be discussing today, the specific example that I'm going to show you, is an example of a company that manages facilities. And this company, at the core of the business, they manage facilities. So they're constantly onboarding new facilities. And for every single facility that they manage, they need to set up everything with regards to that facility. They need to figure out the marketing, the operations, maintenance, finance, everything related to it. And because the process they figured out where you can copy and paste every time there's a new facility. So we've made a template of anytime there's a new facility that needs to be onboarded, whether they're purchasing or taking over a facility, they create a task that represents the facility in their facilities list. They then load the template with all the tasks that need to happen there. And what I've created for them is a way to see all of the tasks across the departments from a high level within the facilities list, while at the same time being able to see all of the tasks on an individual level, all the way down to the person who's doing their tasks themselves. Now, I'm going to show you first the structure of what we've set up. And then once I show you the structure, I'm going to explain how we've implemented what automations are running behind the scenes in order to make this happen. Let's jump into it. Here is our ClickUp setup for this company. And as you can see here, there's a space for my facilities and a space for personal task lists. So the two spaces are as follows. My facilities is where the list of facilities is, and this is where they manage the actual facilities. Anytime a new facility comes in, it goes here, and this is where all the tasks get created. Everything starts from here. The personal task lists are basically a way of managing every single department and for each employee to manage their own individual tasks. We have a folder for every department here. And the reason why we have folders is because within a folder, we have a list for each employee, as well as a list for the projects and goals of that specific department. Every single, all of these lists, we want to be able to have automations and settings that apply to all the lists within this folder, and that's why we put the different lists for each department in separate folders, so that way we can have different sets of automations running on the different groups of lists in each folder. In this folder, as I said, we have a list for every single employee. This is where they work. They can only see their own list, and as you can see, they're all private. And the management of the department can see the projects and goals list as well, in addition to their own personal list. And it's the same thing in every department. So one note that I want to point out as far as having private lists within a setup like this, and then I'm going to go into the workflow. When you have a private list, so let's say in this case, the projects and goals is private list. We don't want everyone in the department to see all of the projects. We only want management of the department to see the projects. So then you can't actually assign tasks on the projects and goals list to specific people if they don't have access to that list, right? Because they don't have access to the task that we're talking about. So then you wouldn't be able to assign them. They wouldn't show up as an option. So what we do is we create a people field that we call delegate to. And you can, in a people field, in a custom people field, you can create a, in the settings, you can turn on that anyone from the workspace shows there, including guests and everyone. And then you delegate the task to a specific person. And then you have an automation running that then adds that task to that person's list. So let's say it was one of these users, you would have it automatically. Let's say it was my list. If I was delegated to a task, it would automatically add the task to my list. And then once it's in my list, I have another automation running that then assigns it to me. So that gets around the ability to have a private list, as well as being able to assign to someone who doesn't have access to that full list. So let's go into now, that being said, let's go into the actual setup and workflow and how this actually works. So when there's a new facility that comes in, someone creates a facility. I'm not going to do it now because there's a lot of stuff running in the background. It's going to take too much time. But you add a new facility, and then when you add the new facility, it then adds the basically a task for every department. Okay, so it's not actually a task. It represents the department, the project for that department for this facility. Within each of these departments, we then have projects. Okay, so and this is again being applied through a template. The assignee would not be filled in by default. That we do later on. The projects then get created for each department. As you can see here, we have a custom field set to which department these projects are for. And the reason why we have that filled in is because then we have an automation running that when a subtask is created and the department is set to that specific department, add it to that department's projects and goals list. So that's the purpose of having this filled in. If you look over here, we also have a project code name. The reason why we do that as well is because all of the subtasks and projects that get created from within have that code as a part of the name. And the benefit of doing that is then no matter where you are, if you're looking at a subtask or something like that, and they can have similar names, we know which project it's for no matter where it's coming from. You can also see that we have a progress bar here, which shows across all of the departments, all the subtasks, all the projects that are within here. And you can see this goes quite deep. You can see exactly how much of it is completed from a high level. So once the projects get added, right, the departmental projects get added to that department's list, the people in charge of the department, the management from each department, can go into that department's projects and goals list and then have a departmental meeting, for example, and start delegating tasks, right? Like we discussed before, they can click delegate to and delegate the tasks they want to the specific people they want to assign those tasks to. When they delegate to those specific people, these tasks then get added to each person's individual task list, which on the sidebar, all they see is their own task list. When they click into it, which I'm going to do in a second, they see the tasks that were delegated to them. Just a side note over here is that you can delegate either a project or subtasks within a project. What level you do it on is a preference. It depends on if you want every subtask showing up on the person's home screen or task list, or if you want just the project and then they have the subtask within, or if you want every subtask individually to show up on their list. So if we go now into my task list, you're now going to see anything that was delegated to me is going to show up on my list. I can then work on it as I work in ClickUp in general, make comments and interact with the task, mark it as complete. When I mark it as complete on my personal list, it then shows as complete on the projects list, and at the same time shows as complete on the project on the project overall, and shows progress to the corporate management team so they can see where everyone is up to with regards to their part of the project, as well as each individual department and where they're up to with their part of the project. Now, going back here for a moment, I'll just show you the automation that we have running here. So when the delegate to field is set to me, we have the task added to my list. And then in my list, we have another automation running that when a task is added to this location, then assign me. So that's how that's happening. Not complicated at all, very, very simple to implement. And this really gives a very clear picture using the custom fields and automations and the tasks and multiple lists of managing projects from a very high level, and then being able for those tasks to automatically go and divvy out to all the appropriate departments, and from there to be assigned out to all the individual employees. So from a management perspective, you really get a very good overview of everything. The department heads get their own good view of everything within the department, and each employee only sees their own list. So it's not overwhelming for them at all in the work that they're actually doing. There's also a lot more that you can add to this. If let's say you want to make it more visually appealing for the individual, for the project lists, or for the people's individual lists, and let's say add tags to break things down further, to group things differently. Right now, it's only just grouped by status. So there's a lot more that can be done to make this more visually appealing and to go deeper. But from a overall standpoint, this setup really works very nicely for companies of all sizes that are managing projects that want us to be able to see it from management and as well as an employee. Another example of how this could be implemented is, let's say, for example, a graphic design company that is managing websites or other projects similar to that. And they have, as a part of the website, there's development, there's design, there's copy, etc. So you can have a certain type of project that created, and that would be, the example of, something like this list where you have all those projects. Then you have templates for the development, for the design, for everything that happens. And then again, those tasks go out to the different departments and then get managed there by each department individually, while the person who's managing the projects can simply see everything from this list here. That wraps up what I had to show you today. Thank you so much for listening. Trish is going to share a link where everybody can sign up to access these templates within the ClickUp public template space, and you can try using these templates yourself. If you have any questions, I'm going to be available in the comments, and you can reach out if you need help. And it's really been a pleasure and an honor to be here today. Thank you so much, Trish. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. That was awesome. I know we got a lot of love in the chat for what you've produced here. Penguin Group is incredible with their ClickUp skills, and they're so happy to share their knowledge with you if this workflow or their mastery of these ClickUp features is of interest to you. The special link that we mentioned is in the chat. We've also pinned it to the top. There's a template there, so feel free to grab it and connect with them using that resource. It is really amazing to see how many different formats and flows that you all, the community, create, many of you using the same features in different and unique ways. So as we continue on here with one more presenter, I hope that this event is really sparking your creativity and inspiring each of you to come up with new ways to be productive. It's time for our final presenter today, and this one is super fun. I'm happy to welcome back Anna Bullock to our virtual stage. Anna is on a mission to bring your online workspace dreams to life. She owns her own consulting business focusing on workspace architecture and low-code API integration. She builds scalable, sustainable ecosystems for every part of businesses to thrive. And her favorite features include dashboards, the ability to embed robust content like video, and like our other two presenters, she's a huge fan of automations. One of the big PowerPoints of working with ClickUp is how many things you can integrate. So today, let's take a tour. She's actually set up an imaginary workspace. She's created it with some fun characters that you might recognize. I found this to be super creative, so have some fun with us and enjoy this one. She's going to show off how these imaginary characters may use each of her favorite features, and I really hope that you enjoy it. Let's check out the fun thing that Anna has built and the content she's prepared for us today. Here's Anna.
Thanks, Trish. I appreciate that introduction. Again, my name is Anna Bullock. I'm excited to be teaching you all today about my favorite features in ClickUp. Those are going to be dashboards, the ability to embed, as well as automations, which are probably my top favorite if I had to choose one. There's a lot more I could get into, but we're going to stick with those three for today. And in our use case, we are going to be helping Mario, yes, Mario from the games, in order to start his YouTube channel. So let's dive into his ClickUp, see what we have going on. Don't worry, there will be a template and a guide that you can sign up for at the end. So let's just get along for the ride. Log in on Mario's homepage. There's a lot going on. If we check his inbox, we see there's some notes here as well. Let's just drive straight into the YouTube list, which is where we're going to be managing the videos that he has in progress. Before we get into anything, we can talk about one of my first favorite features, which was the ability to embed. And then you see a YouTube symbol and something that says B-roll inspo. So if we click that, we'll notice that this is someone's full game walkthrough of Super Mario Odyssey, which is a very fun game. And so the team has embedded this because they have a lot of B-roll that they have to shoot for the YouTube channel. And this particular game has great scenes, stuff for them to reference without having to look it up if they need some inspiration for what they want to do. We can even see if we play it that it does actually start. and you can scrub through the video, which is awesome. So back to our list, you'll see there's several videos in production. We have some in scripting, we have some going on in filming, we also have some that are scheduled. Let's take a look at what's scheduled. So this is a vlog. We can see that by the task type here. And it's called Teaching Luigi How to Be the Main Character, Vlog in Italy, which is exciting. We can also see some commentary and activity history from our team. So Mario, aka us, has said, Luigi, we're ready to publish. Review so you can give me the green light. And then we see what Peach and Luigi are saying. Looks like we do have the green light, which is exciting. So we can scroll through. We already have our description ready. We are supposed to publish today. We already have a thumbnail prepared for us that has been attached to this task as an attachment back from YouTube Studio. And one thing that we like to do before we publish our videos is we like to make sure that we embed the video so it's easy to reference. So here, another way to play with that embed feature, you can type /embed. This is the YouTube videos link. So I'm just going to type that there. And here we go. We have our video. I can play it. I can go to the link itself. I also can now very easily copy the link if I need to reference it in the future. Also, now that we have looked at embeds, we can use this to look at my other favorite feature we discussed, automations. So this again is a really fun vlog. It actually has been, as you can tell by the custom fields, sponsored by Nintendo. Whenever we have something that is sponsored, it's going to prompt us to send this video to them as well because they want to see the live link. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it as live. And through the magic of the ClickUp automation, you will see that a new task appears. Send video link to sponsor. It puts the sponsor's name, which is Nintendo, and Peach is going to be our assignee to get that done. So you may be wondering how that automation was set up. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. As you see, each of our different phases, from scripting to filming to editing, has different rules to create subtasks. That's a really common automation that I enjoy because you add the work that you need to do at the phase that you need to do it. And the one that does this is live and sponsored, send video to sponsor. So you'll notice on the left-hand side of an automation, this is what happens and any conditions. And the right-hand side is what ClickUp's going to do as a response. So on the left-hand side, we have if the status changes from anything to live, then also if the custom field sponsored is equal to sponsored, we don't want to do this for videos where we have no one to send it to, then ClickUp will create a subtask and it will send the video link to sponsor. And then the sponsor parentheses is coming from the fields. So that's one of the really fun things about automation is if I'm looking at this subtask in my task or in a dashboard that we'll get to next, I might want some context on what this is for. I don't just want a bunch of tasks that say send video link to sponsor. So this is a great way to pull in elements of your task into the subtasks through the automations. So we may even want to say for video and put in our task name, right? Because that's what we're calling the videos. So this is the automation. You can add priority, everything you'd like. There's other things you can do with automations, like adding to sprint, changing a custom field, changing a status. There's AI. We won't get into all of that today, but just know that automation is what is driving this workflow forward. Another great example is this 50 item bags, what's inside video. When I look at this video and I take it to filming, it appears in filming. You'll see that we had some items that were already complete, and now we have new items related to actually filming the information for the video. Now, another thing regarding automations is the ability to make things happen when dates arrive. That's a really awesome feature that ClickUp has introduced that I think is really, really helpful. Date automations are really exciting, so do want to get into one of those with this workflow as well. So Mario knows that when the publication date is arriving, right? That is a custom field. And when our status is scheduled, because obviously we want to make sure that it's not something that's still being edited or not ready to go, then we want to change the status to live. We want to create a task to confirm it's live. We want to make sure that that is urgently done by Peach, and you see it will occur on the trigger date. So if the video was scheduled and the publication date was today, when today arrived, what would happen is this task would appear. Peach would go check, make sure everything is live on YouTube as planned in the YouTube studio, and then she would close that out and mark the task as live itself. There are many more types of automations that you can do. This is just a small preview of how you can collaborate with a team. It's really important to be able to reference what's going on and who's done what. Now, lastly, we have dashboards. There are many views that you can have of a list. The list view is very common. Board view is another great example to see things across different stages. Calendar is wonderful. We have this set to the publication date so we can see what videos Mario has going on and click into them to get more detail when that is required. And of course, we have our embed view. And then we have our dashboard. So it has some really awesome presets so we don't have to start from nothing, although you definitely can start from scratch, and I often do. We're going to see what the simple dashboard looks like for ClickUp. So you'll see automatically it's pulling data from this list and telling us what's going on. If I want to see tasks by assignee, I can click right here and I can see here's Luigi's task. I can see whether it's a subtask or not. I can see Peach's task. I can see Mario's, Bowser's, very interactive. It's really nice to be able to see this. I may also want to filter this and just see tasks that are not complete. Maybe I don't care about the amazing amount of work that everyone has gotten done. And so we'll say status is not done or closed. Apply those filters and save. Now the pie chart is going to look a little bit different. People have a little bit less tasks. So if you go to Peach, you'll see all those check marks are gone and we're only looking at the tasks that she has. She has a video that's assigned to her and a subtask to send that link to Nintendo from earlier. Now, the default ones from ClickUp are really great. You'll see that on a default dashboard, it gives you a little welcome to dashboards, which we're going to get rid of. It can give you defaults of what's in progress, what's completed, etc. What I really like here is latest activity. So if, let's say, I'm Mario and I want to know what my team's been up to. I just want to scroll through kind of a timeline, what everybody's been doing in the workspace. Then I can come right here to latest activity and see, okay, obviously I've done some things. There's been some automations running. That's great. I may want to see what other people have done as well. So for example, Luigi assigned a task to me. That was, of course, the teaching Luigi how to be the main character. We have Bowser adding commentary to Peach and all these other activities going on that I can catch up on really quickly. Again, my personal customized timeline to what the team has been doing on this particular list. I also can see task overdue or due this week, which is pretty solid. But we can also play with other types of dashboard widgets. I have opened up some space and I'm going to hit in the top right corner, add card, and just look through some of our options. So obviously we have a lot of the common ones you see. So the pie charts by status, tasks by assignee. Another really great one is bookmarks, which is a newer dashboard feature that I'm really loving. So we can add certain things. So let's maybe paste our YouTube channel. The icon is going to be Mario's channel. This is something that you're going to want to really easily reference or see. Right here for the description, we're just going to say Mario Live is Mario's new YouTube channel for vlogs and more. Add a bookmark. And now I can come in here and add anything I like. Maybe I want to reference a Google Drive folder. We post the actual link here. And then of course we would come in and say, maybe this is thumbnails. Maybe we have somewhere that we're uploading all of them. It's pretty endless. You can do things from all over the web. I just find it really helpful as a resource for the team to very quickly be able to go to bookmarks, see what's going on, because theoretically they could log in, start their day on this page rather than starting it on their homepage, and they can see everything they need to see about YouTube. Another feature that would be really fun to add would be our workspace points, task completed, task worked on, and total points. So this is really fun because it can show you how active everyone is in the workspace. You can also see, for example, how communicative your team is. You can see the average, tasks worked on by team member, really just get insights to what's going on with your team. Lastly, we can add really interesting custom charts. A really great one that we can do is a table. And we'll do this looking at a task list. So the task list you'll see is currently grouped by status. What we want to do instead is we actually want to group it by filming date. And so this is a great example of showing calendar, for example. We'll call this our film schedule. And you can easily see past filming, and then of course upcoming filming as well. And as the YouTube channel grows, there can be more and more on this list. You may want to filter and only see what is due this week, for example. We do our filming date is this week. And now we can see, okay, just Thursday and Saturday. We can handle that. Mario's schedule is good to go. So I hope you have enjoyed this. There is so much more to explore with embedding, with our dashboards, as well as our automation. But this is a fun preview to show you what Mario's been able to accomplish in such a short time. And you can get more information by going to annabullock.com/love in the spirit of for the love of productivity. You can also scan the QR code on your screen, and it'll be prompting you to fill out a short form with your email so I can send you the ClickUp template that Mario uses, the tutorial for how to set this up in your workspace, and some tweaks that you may want to make for your team. Resources for more advanced features like calling webhooks and automations related to this for auto scheduled posting and other exciting things you can do. A replay of this segment in case you'd like to look at it again. And then you also will have the option on the forum to ask me questions. So if you have feedback or if you have questions, I'm happy to get back to you within a couple of business days. So thank you for your time. It was great sharing my love of productivity and ClickUp features with you all.
And now I will put you back in the hands of Trish. Take it away, Trish.
Wow, Anna, that was so cool. This chat was going off about how great it was that you used video game characters to demo ClickUp features. So creative. Also, that workflow is totally incredible. For your real life, everyone, Anna has put together that generous collection of assets that she's offering to this group for free. You can access all the tips and tricks through the link we've posted in the chat. And really, that was incredible. Thanks for packaging that up so nicely, Anna. We hope you all enjoyed the inspiration today. We know you all love productivity as much as we do. For those who want to explore each presenter's content at their own pace, you will be able to watch the recording. So when you receive it from us in the next day or so, you can slow things down and really dig in. Don't forget also to keep an eye out to see if you're the winner of that swag pack. If you joined us live at any point within the recording, you will be entered to win. We'll do that drawing within the next 24 hours and contact the winner. That is all the time we have for today. I do want to have everyone from backstage come on out and join me here on the virtual stage. They have been rapidly busy answering your questions in the chat. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you, Lucy, Nathaniel, Logan, and we're all here. So just a wave to you all. Thanks to our presenters. Thanks to the Q&A team. And thanks to all of you, the community. Cheers to productivity. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks, everybody.